What did you find in your big report, sort of a key theme in the 2019 app downloads?
So I think the key thing we saw from a download perspective is that the big popular social and communications apps that really drive so much of our activity on mobile continue to dominate again in 2019. So if you look at the top 10, you'll see social apps were 7 of the top 10 in terms of downloads, with Facebook claiming 4 of the top 5.
One of those also in there that caught my eye was Tinder. How has Tinder's explosion changed the social media landscape?
So from a monetization standpoint, we're seeing that it's not just video apps or music apps that have done really well to monetize in entertainment outside of games on mobile, but we're seeing that dating apps are starting to make their mark. And Tinder claimed that #1 spot in monetization outside of games. And so I think it's an indication of the natural social experience of what dating can. It's a social component, right? This ability to quickly communicate. In the case of Bumble, you kind of have to check out you've been matched with within a certain time frame, like within a day before you lose those matches. So there's also behaviors to bring people back. And we're seeing more and more competition. Tinder has a huge lead, but we are seeing so many other apps in that space continuing to grow.
And what's interesting, and you've sort of hinted at this, is the ability to monetize. Some of the most successful apps that you've seen that were downloaded have those recurring revenue, that subscription model, which, as we talk about on this program, so important to investors. How are they able to be successful for a generation, frankly, that's known for not wanting to pay anything?
I think it's a matter of value, right? If you deliver a great value for a service that is not a one-time sort of fulfillment, it's built into the experience. It's sort of expected. And so I think when you look at entertainment, you're generally not just, you might be binge watching something, but you're coming back for the next show the week later. Or in the case of music, right? People are listening to music in many cases that are subscribers day in and day out. And then dating has that similar sort of like people are using these apps really regularly over a continuous period of time. So I think they've captured and delivered on a value and unmet need that people didn't have outside of it.
And a lot of the subscription-based apps that you were really highlighting here are within the gaming sector. That is really just taken off, the rise of this virtual sort of online gaming. Is that really what you see fueling growth as well into 2020?
So gaming's an interesting one. So overall in mobile, gaming drives about 75 cents of every dollar consumers spend. Now, if you look specifically in games, though, that's typically in-app purchases. So people are buying gems or levels. Subscription just started to take off with things like arcade this year, for example. And so subscription, I think, is something to keep an eye on in 2020. We just started to scratch the surface with games. It's the one area that games is sort of behind on versus other categories. And I think that it'll be a new opportunity for publishers to monetize games that maybe didn't lend themselves well to in-app purchases.